Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're diving into your tech dilemmas, from cutting the cord to really optimizing that viewing experience.
Oh, it's really amazing how much tech is involved in our everyday lives these days and how much there is to learn about it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So you've been thinking about ditching cable and going all in on streaming, but one thing is holding you back: the lack of truly wireless TV antennas. I get it. Why can't we just beam those OTA signals straight to our TVs?
Yeah, it's a question that has puzzled many cord cutters. The tech behind OTA broadcasts is more intricate than it seems. These signals, unlike your Netflix stream, sprawl across a wide spectrum of frequencies and use complex modulation techniques. To transmit that wirelessly, you'd need seriously specialized professional-grade equipment.
So it's not as simple as attaching an antenna to my Wi-Fi router, huh?
Not quite. Plus, in most areas, rebroadcasting TV signals without a license is a legal gray area, so anyone trying to create a consumer-friendly wireless OTA antenna would face a ton of regulatory hurdles.
That's a bummer. But wait, you mentioned a workaround in your notes.
Yeah.
Something about OTA tuners and DVRs. What's the deal with those?
Ah, yes. This is where things get clever. Instead of trying to directly transmit that complex OTA signal, these devices decode it first. Devices like the Silicon Dust HD Home Run Flex Duo connect to your antenna, decipher that signal, and then stream the content over your home Wi-Fi network.
Hold on, so I can put the antenna wherever it gets the best reception, maybe up in the attic, and still watch TV anywhere in my house,
Mm.
even on my phone in the basement.
Precisely. It's like having a virtual antenna without those pesky cables snaking through your home.
Okay, that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
No more cable company, no more messy wires. Now we just need to make sure the picture on that TV is crystal clear. You mentioned something intriguing in your notes about using a mirror to enhance TV picture quality. Is this some sort of tech sorcery?
It might sound strange, but there's a scientific reason behind it. Mirrors absorb a certain amount of light, which can actually improve contrast and reduce brightness, especially noticeable on LCD TVs.
I'm skeptical, but go on. How does a mirror magically make my TV better?
It's not magic, it's physics. It's particularly helpful in combating something called blooming, which is that halo effect you sometimes see around bright objects on an LCD screen. The mirror helps by minimizing those halos and even suppressing minor image artifacts.
So it's like a DIY contrast booster.
Exactly. It can make colors appear richer and blacks deeper, almost like an OLED TV. Temporarily, of course. I wouldn't recommend watching everything through a mirror, but it's a fun experiment to try, especially if you want to impress your friends with your tech wizardry.
I'll have to test that out. Now let's talk about picking the right TV in the first place.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your notes this idea of an anime TV, a TV specifically designed for anime. Is there really such a thing?
That's a common myth, unfortunately. There's no single anime TV. The best TV for anime, or any genre for that matter, is simply the best TV you can afford. The key is to prioritize the features that truly enhance the viewing experience.
So what should we be looking for? I know a big screen is always nice, but what about the technical stuff?
A high-quality display with excellent contrast, deep black levels, and accurate, vibrant colors are the cornerstones. You'll see those benefits no matter what you're watching, from anime to live sports.
Okay, so no magical anime TV. But I get what you're saying, focus on the core display technology. In your notes, you mentioned OLED TVs as being top tier for picture quality. Why is that?
OLEDs are in a league of their own because each pixel emits its own light. This means you get perfect blacks and incredible contrast, since pixels can literally turn off completely when displaying black. It's like having a tiny spotlight for each pixel, making the image incredibly vibrant and detailed.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I bet those OLEDs come with a hefty price tag. What if you're working with a more modest budget?
In that case, a high-end LED TV with a good local dimming feature and a high refresh rate can deliver a fantastic experience, especially for fast-paced action you often see in anime. Local dimming helps improve contrast by controlling the backlight in specific zones of the screen, while a high refresh rate makes the motion smoother.
So focus on those key specs and don't get swayed by marketing hype. Got it. Now let's shift gears from the picture to the sound. You mentioned that a builder offered to pre-wire for a 5-channel in-ceiling surround sound system. Is that something worth considering, or should we stick to traditional speakers?
Ideally, your front 3 speakers, the left, center, and right channels, should be at ear level for the most accurate soundstage. But sometimes, because of room layout or personal preferences, wall-mounted or traditional floor-standing speakers aren't feasible.
So in-ceiling speakers are a compromise, but not necessarily a bad one.
Exactly. If done right, in-ceiling speakers can still create an immersive surround sound experience. It comes down to choosing high-quality speakers, angling them correctly toward the listening area, and potentially even using enclosures to enhance their performance.
Let's talk about those enclosures. In your notes, you said they make a difference. Why is that?
Think of it like this. An enclosure acts like a mini sound studio for the speaker driver. It helps control the movement of air, reducing unwanted vibrations and resonances that can muddy the sound. This results in clearer, more impactful audio, especially for bass frequencies.
It's like giving the speaker driver its own dedicated sound booth. Okay, I'm sold on enclosures. But let's say in-ceiling speakers are the only practical option in my setup. Any tips for making the most of them?
Absolutely. First, invest in speakers that can be angled towards a listening position. This focuses the sound where you want it and creates a more realistic soundstage. Second, consider speakers with adjustable tweeters, which let you fine-tune the high-frequency sounds for optimal clarity.
So it's all about getting that sound aimed right at my ears. What about the other speakers in a surround sound system? What about the rear channels?
For the surround channels, you have some flexibility. While dedicated in-ceiling speakers can work well, you could also explore wall-mounted options or even freestanding speakers on stands. The key is to achieve a balanced sound field where the audio wraps around you, creating a truly immersive experience.
You mentioned Atmos height channels earlier. What are those and do I need them?
Atmos height channels add a whole new dimension to surround sound by introducing sounds from above. They create a more realistic and enveloping soundscape, especially for movies and games with immersive audio tracks. You could think of it as adding a whole new layer of speakers above you, mimicking sounds coming from the sky.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Are Atmos speakers always in ceiling or are there other options?
You can actually achieve the Atmos effect with specialized upward-firing speakers that bounce sound off the ceiling. These are often designed to sit on top of your existing front, left, and right speakers. It's a great way to add height to your sound without cutting holes in your ceiling.
So even if you start with a basic in-ceiling setup, you can always upgrade it later.
Exactly. And remember, no matter what type of speakers you choose, the quality of your AV receiver plays a crucial role in the overall sound quality. It's the heart of your home theater system, processing and distributing audio signals to all your speakers.
Okay, so a good AV receiver is essential. Now, you had a great tip in your notes about repurposing those in-ceiling speakers if I ever wanted to upgrade to a more traditional setup. Can you tell us more about that?
Let's say you start with 5 in-ceiling speakers for your 5.1 surround system. If you decide to upgrade to floor standing or bookshelf speakers for your front 3 channels, those front in-ceiling speakers don't have to go to waste. You can repurpose them as your Atmos height channels, adding that extra layer of immersion without having to install additional ceiling speakers.
That's a fantastic way to future-proof your home theater and get the most out of your investment.
Exactly. It's all about thinking strategically and being creative with your setup. And remember, a well-calibrated system, even with in-ceiling speakers, can sound fantastic.
Calibration, what does that involve?
Calibration ensures all your speakers are working together harmoniously and that the sound is balanced for your specific room. It involves adjusting things like speaker levels, distances, and crossover frequencies to create a cohesive and immersive soundstage.
So it's like fine-tuning an instrument to get the best sound possible?
Precisely. Many modern AV receivers have built-in room calibration features that use a microphone to analyze your room's acoustics and automatically adjust the settings for optimal performance.
That sounds super convenient. Anything else we should keep in mind when setting up a home theater system?
Don't underestimate the importance of good speaker placement and room acoustics. The position of your speakers and the way sound interacts with your room can significantly impact the overall listening experience.
What about those OTA tuners we talked about earlier? I'm guessing they play a role in a home theater setup too, right?
Absolutely. OTA tuners are a fantastic way to integrate free over-the-air television into your home theater system. They allow you to watch and record your favorite shows without cable or satellite subscriptions.
Well, record shows, you mean like a DVR?
Many OTA tuners come with built-in DVR functionality. You can schedule recordings, pause live TV, and even skip commercials, all without paying those pesky cable company fees.
So I can have free TV, no cable bills, and a killer home theater setup. This is starting to sound like a dream come true.
It's all within reach with a bit of planning and the right tech.
Now, before we wrap up, there's one last thing I wanted to touch on. Wireless TV antennas. You mentioned a workaround using OTA tuners and streaming over Wi-Fi. But in your notes, you mentioned potential downsides. What are those?
Good catch. While OTA tuners offer amazing flexibility and convenience, there are a couple of things to consider. First, your network needs to be robust enough to handle streaming multiple TV channels simultaneously without buffering or lag.
So a strong Wi-Fi signal is essential. What else?
The other thing to keep in mind is that OTA tuners rely on internet connectivity for their guide data and some of their features like recording schedules. So if your internet goes down, you might lose some of those functionalities.
That's a good point. So while it's not completely wireless in the sense that it still relies on the internet, it's a pretty darn close solution to getting rid of those cable boxes and messy coaxial cables.
Exactly. It's a great option for cord cutters who want the freedom and flexibility of streaming but don't want to give up on free over-the-air television.
Exactly. It's a great option for those cord cutters out there. Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of tech. We've covered everything from antennas and TVs to speakers and AV receivers. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we sign off?
Yeah, just remember technology is constantly evolving, so stay curious, do your research, and don't be afraid to experiment.
Excellent advice. And most importantly, have fun with it. Building your ultimate entertainment setup should be an enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. It's all about creating a space where you can relax, escape, and immerse yourself in your favorite content.
Well said. You've been listening to Byte-Sized Tech, where we break down complex tech topics into bite-sized pieces you can actually use.
It's been a pleasure diving into these fascinating tech dilemmas with you.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.